We are live. Yeah. Moose, that's become like the signature.
The signature of the intro,
It's the class.
the clapping dog. It's the
You know,
clapping.
you know what it reminds me of? Like something you would see at like the Colosseum in Rome back in the day. It's like a very methodical, very systematic clap. It's not like a roaring crowd clap. It's a clap as if the emperor has arrived. You know what I mean?
I love it, dog. I love it.
Moose, good to have you, man. Tyrone is
Good to
here, I
see you. Good
think.
to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be here and hanging out with the people on
Lots
YouTube.
of good stuff today.
Yeah, man. Tyrone, what's going on, sir?
Busy week, man. My God.
Yeah.
It hasn't been busier in ever.
Yeah. I was saying that at like I don't know if it was the last podcast we did or the one before that. I've never been as busy on my channel. I know you've been busy. I've been watching your content, and it's just stuff is like fast and furious. It comes in, you know. And I feel like, we get an update, we get a new one. There's a really good topic in an article where they're discussing things like Capex and Spectrum, and then some kind of competitive thing changes within the industry. And then Charlie does something, and then Dish, and there's always something, man. Yeah. All right, so we got Big Pete here in the house. We got Aaron P. We got Baby Yoda. Good to have you guys. Cesar is here. We got Kevin. We got my homie Lavendi in the house. Trying to get some stability here. Yeah, man. Lavendi says, "All hail the leader of the FCC." Hey, he's decisive. I give him that. Pete. It's in the email. I sent it, dog. It's in the email. Come on, man. Come on now. Unless somehow, some way, it didn't send you. You know what I'll do, Pete? I'll copy the address. I'll send it to you, Pete. I got you. Okay, so the link coming your way, Pete. Let's look at some of these topics today, gentlemen. It really is an open platform. I think there's a lot to discuss. One of the things I want to touch on is the one climb tower strategy for AT&T. I want to discuss the Comcast and Charter mobile subscriber metrics. Right, so we can talk about they continue to take their SOGA or their share of gross ads. I also want to talk a little bit about Capex and what this year means and what it, probably actually for the next year or two, actually. And then the premium upsell, which I think is important to discuss. And then lastly, and it doesn't have to be the first or last, these are just things I want to discuss. The FAA has really, I don't know, what do you guys want to say, pulled the reins back and decided that, hey, planes won't fall from the sky and 5G is fine by us, is kind of what they're saying right now. So that's kind of my process for tonight's show, and we don't really have an order sequence, but I think we'll get to everything. And I know some people mentioned something in the last show, saying that the show felt rushed or something. I don't know if it felt rushed, but it's not always easy for me to do a show that's more than an hour. It's hard to find the time, family, work, other people's schedules. It's hard to get more than an hour. It's not easy to do.
Sneed, I will say, toward the end, we were trying to go through some a couple things, but that's because we hit that time wall and we're like, gotta finish.
What are you supposed to do, dog? I mean, there's only so many hours in the day.
You gotta finish.
Yeah. So we're not always going to be able to discuss every topic for 35 minutes. But there's always the next show, and there's always the next show after that. And there's always other videos. We do Twitter Spaces. I can't tell you guys, I try my best to offer as much different ways of connectivity as possible. I really do my best to try. Regardless of what you may think, I do try.
And I've started trying to do my whiteboard stuff off camera, then segueing into it, not mentioning it while writing.
Mm-hmm. All right, gents. Actually, you know what? Since we got a couple of guests on here, Pete and Moose are kind of, I don't know, you guys are like resident fellow co-host, but Tyrone's kind of the special guest. Tyrone, I want to kind of talk about this fiber build from T-Mobile because you did the video. I watched it. What's kind of the feel that you get about this story as it kind of develops? Like, the way I look at it is I don't see them doing their fiber for at least another few years. Number one, I don't think the Capex is there. Number two, they've got these other projects they have to finish first because they've already started them. But I do feel like they can't do millimeter wave effectively until they go 10 plus gig circuits and fiber. And they can't rent that on a large scale, So I don't know, your take on it as you kind of reported on it. You got some internal stuff there. Just kind of take us through what you learned and then kind of how you see it.
I'm gonna toss in a little bit of background for people who don't know about the Sprint integration. That's like a boulder hanging over their head, and that needed to get done a year ago.
Wait, so they're saying that there's no sound from Tyrone?
I heard them.
Yeah, me too. Can anybody hear Pete? Can anyone hear myself? Moose, do we have sound from you?
Yeah, I have sound. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it looks to me like maybe Tyrone's sound might be a little bit off. Tyrone, why don't you bounce out, close out your browser, and then come back in because this is an important topic. Okay, go ahead. We'll see if we can get Tyrone back in here. So, what Pete is kind of discussing, Pete, you were talking about the Sprint piece. How much does the Sprint? I don't want to say the Sprint transaction. How much does Sprint's backbone supports them in this, or is it something that they're going to have to pivot completely, maybe get like a partnership or actually possibly a merger acquisition?
Well, with the Sprint integration thing, they're they technically have a bunch of redundancies and redundancies cost money.
Sure do.
They talk about the synergies. They have not been talking about the redundancies. Having a billing and account system costs money, and having the larger it is, the more it costs. But having two billing and account systems, you're paying twice for two different things. Same with managing network traffic if you're running them over the Sprint network because their grandfather on Sprint, you need to have dedicated traffic for that and try and move them over to the bigger network. But you still have to maintain even FCC broadcast license for that.
Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Yeah, we're good. We can hear you, Tyrone.
you need to maintain a license to have that word Sprint show up in the corner of your phone too.
So what do you think about this, Pete? And Tyrone, Moose, I want to get you guys involved here because I think this is important.
Yeah.
I think they have 3 or 4 things they have to address before they do fiber. I personally think, number 1, they have to finish their density project, whatever that is. Number 2, they have to finish their Sprint Keep site upgrades.
Oh yeah.
And number 3, they have to pay down their debt. They can't take on a $30 billion project without clearing the first 90 or so billion that they have. And by the way, Tyrone, you had a great point there. They don't have free cash flow.
Nope.
Yeah, they have to get to that free cash flow target that they guided at the analyst day to be able to dynamically increase the capex or be flexible enough to. Until then, they're going to be working with those synergies, as they call it. And another good thing, we finally got the dollar amount of what it's going to cost AT&T to shut off that 3G network. Just imagine what that's going to cost T-Mobile decommissioning an entire network. It's going to cost them way more than that. So they have to get that done.
I put a comment on the AT&T video regarding this.
Yeah, I read your comment, Pete.
Is AT&T going to have to hold on for Boost?
No.
But T-Mobile is also going to have to do a slower, more drawn-out decommission.
I don't think it's going to be much different, Pete. I think what's going to start to happen, and I think it's going to start releasing in the spring, I would expect a slew of MediaTek processor-based devices that can do the whole shebang at a price point that's going to be around $50 to $99 on an upgrade for Boost customers. And I think that covers them for AT&T and T-Mobile network access.
As long as you get the right MediaTek chip.
Well, it's not going to matter to the customer. They don't care, but it has to be band compatible, right?
Yeah, if they have the T-Mobile SIM, it's going to have to have 2, 4, 7, 12, 25, 26, 41, and probably N71, N41, and band 41.
I think the greater concern, Pete, is the fact that, when you look at the network shutdown, and Moose, you can kind of speak to this, Moose, it's going to be cheaper for AT&T to shut down their 3G than probably any carrier.
Yes.
100%. And I think because of, when it comes to true network synergies, Pete, T-Mobile can talk about it all they want. I think AT&T has it on their side because of FirstNet.
T-Mobile only talks about synergies insofar as synergies they obtain through buying Sprint.
Yeah, but when they discuss network synergies, I don't see it like I do for, say, AT&T. To me, it's glaringly obvious. I think AT&T's got the network synergies.
Yeah.
They do, but I will say that the likelihood of a Boost phone having access to band 14 or N14 is really low. If it's a cheap MediaTek.
No, if N14's a non-thing, band 14 is really it. I mean, we're not going to be talking about future phones getting N14. Probably nobody's going to be concerned for at least another year.
But what I'm saying is, if it's a MediaTek cheap Boost phone, you're probably not going to have band 14 on the board. Because that's premium service right there.
All right, Moose, what's your take, man? AT&T shutting down 3G. It's going to cost them $400 million. How do you see it? Kind of like how things are going to play out here in the next month or two.
A drop in the bucket, dog. That 5x5 spectrum, 5x5 slice of band 5 is too valuable, dog.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me is, it's not just the network upgrade equipment, right? You also have to finance these phones for these people that are stuck on these legacy devices. So we're talking like anything from a cheap 5G phone to an iPhone SE to an iPhone 12 mini, there was plenty of those, So it's a lot of money, dog. A lot of money solely on the devices.
Yeah.
It's only on the devices.
I'm gonna interject. T Yellow Dragon chimes in with a $10 super chat, saying, "Listen, multiple T-Mobile reps have said that 2G is staying online, and there could be a small slice of 3G remaining in some areas for contracts, but the rest will." But the rest of the 3G will shut down. This is true, Yellow Dragon. The 2G for all carriers is staying on longer than the 3G, simply because there is
It's
more
calling, Pete.
niche. It's calling, and you can have scientific equipment and vending machines running on it.
Yeah, so AT&T, if I remember correctly, already shut off their 2G network.
Yeah.
They gave those contracts over to T-Mobile, and T-Mobile is now operating those vending machine contracts on the 2G network that they still operate.
Yep. 2G is worth more than 3G. Go figure.
Right. Yeah, it's funny.
Well, I mean, there's still, I mean, there's no reason to operate the 3G at this point. I mean, there's not enough traffic on it. The devices like handheld and mobiles have been mostly sunsetted and legacy tech shut down and devices upgraded. So
You know, it's
no surprise there.
you know, it's interesting, Sneed. So we keep talking about shutdowns, and AT&T finally gave us a figure of what it would cost them to shut down the 3G network. That's one thing T-Mobile never really brought to light. How much is it going to cost them to shut down that entire
I'll tell you
CDMA
exactly
network?
why, Tyrone. Because no carrier is as sensitive to investor perception as T-Mobile. They don't want to disclose that. They don't want to discuss it, and I can't blame them. Like they're sitting here trying to get the investors to have confidence. Look at the share price right now. Look at the stock.
Yeah.
Right? It peaked at 150. It's now at like 105.
So
You don't want to talk about any extra expenses right now.
this is the stock, right? Bring up 3G shutdown. It's gonna fall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just another thing. I mean, what do you want to do, Tyrone? You want them to talk about data breaches, and network outages, and then talk about a shutdown that's going to cost $1 billion?
Yeah.
I mean, look,
I mean,
hold on. What about when they lost the contract essentially to Dish?
Yeah.
When they lost it to 18 like that, bro? Their share price has been steadily dipping. I think more than any other carrier. So like,
Yeah.
I think Dish has gone down 20%.
Yeah.
T-Mobile's gone down 30%.
30% in a short time too.
Very short time. So they were king of the world, and everybody was saying this stock has $175 price point,
Yep.
ceiling or whatever, and then it completely just plummeted after they lost the account when AT&T took it, and they gave Dish 12 years.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of negatives behind it, but I just think that cost of decommissioning sites and then turning off CDMA is going to be expensive. But T-Mobile will say it's part of the synergies that'll cover that cost. So
Yeah, and they remember when they said no big deal. We figured we were losing Dish anyways.
yeah,
Nobody's buying that, Tyrone. I mean,
no,
Pete, me and Pete have talked about it often, and Tyrone, we've talked about it. Moose, we've talked about it. We don't like the way a certain person is doing certain things at a certain carrier.
Yep.
I mean, I think Stanky's pushing all the right buttons. The dude shaved his head. Damn it,
He shaved his head.
he shaved his freaking head, dog. That's very leisure-esque, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even do that during his tenure at T-Mobile, so I don't know. Stanky's taking that to another level.
But I think what it tells us, is pretty obvious, is that he said he would do it, so he did.
He said he was going to do it. Yeah.
And
So that tells everybody around him, I'm a man of my word.
I think he's a great leader for the company, and the team is starting to rally behind him. I think that's really what that signals.
Yeah.
And by the way, I got some very interesting news from my guy at Alaska Airlines. he was telling me that they have paused the port outs from AT&T to T-Mobile because of the data breaches and because they've realized that there's certain areas that T-Mobile does not have competent coverage.
In Alaska?
Yes.
Wait, I thought they had a roaming contract there.
They do.
My point is that
my
point is that there's now they're suspect. They're suspect, and that's what I've been told from my guy at Alaska.
Well, that airlines is based out of Seattle, so it's a stateside airlines. I mean, I didn't know about that, but I think I heard T-Mobile let them test it for like 4 months, rigorous testing. So they should have found that out before making that public statement.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens, man. I'm telling you.
All right, we got some numbers to look at. You guys ready for these numbers?
Can we pull it up? Since we're just a bunch of talking dots, could you do full screen on them
for the numbers?
Yeah,
I think I can.
If not, it's good.
No, I should be able. I don't know if I ever did a screen share on this. Let me see.
Somebody did a super chat. Somebody said in the super chat, T-Mobile will be better once they buy Comcast.
Oh no! Don't do this. Come on now,
Hector,
come on, man.
The likelihood of T-Mobile buying Comcast is low. What is more likely is DT buying Comcast, but DT's also a little hurting for money.
Yeah, it was bigger than DT. I don't see that happening, but you know.
I think they might get a cooperative agreement at the best between the two of them.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see how the business goes this year. I mean, in the fourth quarter, T-Mobile outgrew all the cable co's broadband numbers. They're not even a full year in. So we'll have to see where that business goes. They might
especially with the N41 deployment rate.
Yeah.
We and thank you, Kamikaze Kid, for the $10 super chat. Is that a Super Famicom controller?
He said sunglasses perpetually fall onto video game controllers' proud face. I haven't seen that super sticker before.
Yeah, that's a new one to me.
What?
No. I think Apple would sooner be buying T-Mobile.
Noel, now you're just trolling, dog. Now you're just straight up trolling.
Damn. No, like I said from the beginning, I think that there's going to be a merger between T-Mobile and Lumen.
T-Mobile can buy Apple, huh?
That's more likely to happen.
That would be a huge move if they did that, and then they bought back the Apollo assets. They would be the second largest wireline behind AT&T.
Lumen is actually hiring for cellular network engineers.
All right, no more trolling, you guys, with these damn acquisitions and mergers. Enough. All right, let's get to these numbers.
Also, don't talk about scallops. I might get up and make me a bagel.
All right, so Comcast and Charter are still adding huge numbers of subscribers. Whatever bundling discounts they're giving for...
It's because they want people to get that crappy TV service.
All right, so hold on, Pete. Let me finish. They're adding like 300,000+ a piece every quarter. Like I think this time around it was Charter. They added like 317,000. Yeah. I think Comcast was like 200-something thousand. Pete, they do a 500,000 ads every quarter. So the $29.99 lines from these companies where they're like reselling Verizon.
Yep.
This is working, dude.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of weird. They're taking people from T-Mobile, and T-Mobile is taking their home internet customers.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, it depends on the
That's yet to
market.
be well, exactly. That's yet to actually show that much.
Yeah.
Okay, but like maybe we'll wait a couple more quarters to really look for that. We need
Yeah.
a national campaign from T-Mobile, and then we need people to see it, know that it exists, and all of that.
Well, that's the thing. They outgrew the cable codes without a national ad campaign this quarter. I mean, in Q4. That's
Wait,
saying a
they
lot.
have an ad
But they're not taking
campaign?
their customers.
Well, they're getting them from somebody.
That's
Probably
the thing. I think they're taking them from DSL. They're taking them from AT&T's old DSL.
Yeah.
Real
I think they're
quick,
taking them from. Go ahead, Pete.
thank you to Angus Oak, $2 super chat. Appreciate the content. Great content. Much love as always. Yeah,
Thanks, Angus. Appreciate it.
they're taking customers from DSL and HughesNet. If you have a T-Mobile tower there and it has N71, you get a better connection with a lower data cap at a lower price.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sneed's right. If we're gonna have to look at it a couple more quarters. But if they're gonna do 300,000 ads a quarter, I mean, cable has to be somewhere in there. I mean, I don't think there's that many DSL customers left out there.
Well, here's the thing. T-Mobile had beta for a year and a half.
And
I don't know how many customers they had.
And counting.
And then, what's that?
Year and a half and counting. I think they're still in beta.
I mean, Tyrone, it's been what, 2 quarters since they technically officially launched?
Yeah, and this was the first quarter reported numbers.
Yeah, I don't know how many they had going into the official launch. I don't know how many were added during beta. I don't have any of that information, but I know that they have like 700,000 customers on it right now.
Yeah, around there.
So I expect next earnings call to show 1 million. They'll celebrate. We finally did it. We hit 1 million, right? And then it's going to be on to the next million.
Yeah.
So when do you guys think they hit 2 million? Because I think they'll hit 1 million next quarter, right? So Q1. When do they get to 2 million?
I think this year will be their biggest growth of that product. I think them going from 200 to 250 million covered with N41. A lot of that is, like they say, 5 times the landmass. So I think they go big in rural, and I think this year will be the biggest growth year throughout the four quarters for this product. But
so then I think what we could do, Tyrone, is then look at the ads, and then do we start to see Comcast and Charter slow down? Because that would mean that the business has been impacted.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I just wonder how they'll respond in terms of pricing, and do they go even cheaper? How do you kind of respond to that?
So here's how it works, Tyrone. The people that are on Comcast and Charter are getting their wireless because they have them for home internet.
Yeah.
If people aren't adopting their home internet, then that means they're not going to be using their wireless. So once we see Comcast and Charter numbers slow, then we know that what T-Mobile and Verizon are doing is hurting them.
Yeah.
Now imagine if T-Mobile could get their fiber build out sooner than later, get wireline people too.
I still got them at like 2025, Pete.
That's what the permittings are starting to look like too.
I can't see it before 2025 because I'm just looking at their financials. That's like the earliest.
We're gonna see the non-pilot fiber pilot in 2025. I'm feeling.
I mean, we have high standards. I mean, we're used to AT&T and Verizon. They got Fios, they got fiber. It's like hard for us to grasp a company starting from scratch. That's really you guys think that what T-Mobile did in wireless is impressive? Could you imagine if they win with fiber? That would be like David versus Goliath.
No. It'd be an ant versus Goliath, man.
I mean, what they did in wireless, I would say, is nothing short of, it's like It's like Rocky, you know what I'm saying? But like that would be David and Goliath.
I mean, I'm impressed that they're competitive with Verizon and AT&T where I live, and in some cases more than. They changed over the last 10 years.
What does your intelligence have the fiber build at, Tyrone?
Starting in 2024.
Oh,
Yep, starting in
okay.
2024. But
Maybe
again,
that's
like
the piloting and stuff. I don't know.
yeah, again, how they get there is unknown at this point. We can still speculate. You know, do they buy Lumen? You know, do they merge with them? That's still the unknown. But I'm hearing there's a lot of fiber companies out there to be bought for cheap amounts. So,
but they do understand. I know they don't like talking about it. They do understand that they can't properly 5G network without owning their fiber.
Yeah, they do understand that, and Neville talked about that you know, he keeps saying eventually they'll have to get into fiber, and I heard him say that at some of the conferences. He knows they have to get into fiber, just like they're starting to deploy these small cells. They know with this home internet usage, they have to get into the small cell game. It's just they just have to do it by default. There's no way around it. They got to do it.
Tyrone, I have said this from the start. Everywhere that Verizon gets a strong hold of fixed wireless access, let's say that 10 people adopt Verizon's 5G home in a building, apartment building of like 500 people, right? Let's say they add 10 people. Next month, they add another 10. By the end of the year, there's 200 people in that apartment complex on the Verizon home internet.
Yep.
They're going to put a millimeter wave node there. Like, they're going to put in a permit
If it's already
probably after the first 50 customers to 100 customers. You know, so like T-Mobile's going to have to do something similar. Wherever their network is being adopted big scale, they're going to have to do it.
They have to, because if not, it's going to be a churn fest. It's going to be a churn fest.
You got to invest in where people are giving you money.
Yeah.
You have to.
I mean, they did it. You told me they did it in New York. You told me in New York City, they've got a macro on every rooftop site. Every block or something like that, right?
Yep.
Thank you, Kamikaze Kid, for the $5 super chat with the Fox going good job with a thumbs up.
I've seen this one. I've seen before.
It's a Shiba Inu, not a Shiba.
Shiba dog.
With the home internet, they're going to have to get hyper dense if they plan on keeping those customers.
All right. Let's take a look at these numbers now. You guys ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This is Q4 postpaid phone net ads. AT&T, 864,000. T-Mobile, 844,000 is their preliminary numbers. So I'd say like
you say
AT&T and T-Mobile are pretty close. Yeah, 864 for AT&T, 844 for T-Mobile, 558 for the Verizon, 380 for Charter, 312 for Comcast, so I misspoke on that one. But they combined for 700,000 net ads. 700,000. That's the biggest quarter that these two companies have had ever. They add like 500,000 every quarter.
Hold up. What did you say Verizon added again?
558,000.
Throwing this up on the whiteboard. Let me erase the Facebook phone number. So, yeah, T-Mobile and AT&T are rounding errors.
I mean, I got the whole year. I got the annual numbers too, Pete.
Okay.
AT&T had the best year, 3.04 million. T-Mobile, 2.92. Charter, 1.2 million. Comcast, 1.15 million.
Yeah.
Verizon, 1.1 million.
Aren't Charter and Comcast technically Verizon ads since the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
they
much.
got that. Yeah, that's true. Well,
Yeah.
they're on the Verizon network, right? Exactly. Yeah. But here's the thing, Pete. In 2020,
even
okay,
here that's pretty close.
so check this out, Pete. In 2020, the companies were doing half of this. The industry didn't have growth like this. So what was different about 2021, dog?
COVID.
2020 was a COVID year.
Yeah, but people were still more worried about toilet paper than how well their phone worked.
So you think it was just conservative spending behaviors?
Yeah.
So there would have been a little bit more growth in 2020 had it been a normal year.
Yeah.
And then a little bit less growth for 2021.
Maybe. We may have seen higher turns in 2021.
2019, T-Mobile had 2.43 million net adds.
Man, T-Mobile smoked that last year.
So their 2019 numbers look very similar to their 2021 numbers. Their 2020 numbers were the ones that were down just a smidge. They're still a big grower, though. They really do grow. They add a lot of lines, like, dang. But here's the thing, Pete.
I'm actually impressed that there is still this much growth in the industry.
But Pete, how about this? You know who it is? Guess who's changing all of this? It's 3 companies.
TELUS,
No.
Bell, Rogers.
It's AT&T and it's Charter Comcast. Those are the 3 companies that are changing it. Because look, Verizon added 1.4 million subscribers in 2019. They added half of that in 2020. They added 1 million in 2021. So they're not really the big player. Comcast and Charter are adding 2 to 3 million a year.
The reason why Charter and Comcast are so popular. By the way, Cesar Gonzalez sent us $5 super chat, wondering if we think Verizon will buy back fiber for Tier or AT&T will acquire it. But the Comcast and the Charter growth says that people are enjoying the Verizon coverage, they just don't like the price. And maybe some of the features they give.
Man.
Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah. I was just shocked by these numbers, Pete, looking back at, the years, like 2019, 20, and 21.
I mean, this annual, that's,
it's a lot. The industry grew a lot.
9 billion people moving around.
If you look at this as SOGA, share of gross ads, AT&T's at the top. I never would have thought this 2 years ago, Pete. Come on, Pete. AT&T was the butt of the joke on every single podcast 2 years ago. Right or wrong?
They're still correct, and they're still the butt of the joke on John Oliver, and they're a butt of the joke in coverage in my market. I wish they'd improve. That way we'd have 3 good carriers, but...
Pete, AT&T had 136,000 ads in 2019. 136,000. They added 1.2 million last year, and they added 3 million this year.
That's impressive from virtually no one.
That's like taking 2019 off and then only trying at the end.
Yep.
Which I think is kind of what it looks like. It looks like they didn't care, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait a minute, there's money out here. Let's try.
do like Ryan Fraley's comment regarding Verizon in rural markets. And I'm hoping C-band and when T-Mobile is done deploying 71 and 41 and their lower block C-band, that Verizon will stop being the only game in town in some markets. Because that would give people another option and encourage Verizon to grow.
By the way, I want to give credit to the numbers. They were put together by Walt Pychek over on Twitter. So I was looking at some of his numbers. He does a nice job of looking at all that. He's an analytics guy. He's a financial analyst guy that I follow and I interact with on Twitter.
Shout
All right, Pete.
outs to him.
How about this? We got the US FAA. They have given Verizon and AT&T the green light to light up 5G to their heart's content. You ready for this?
Yeah, and then I'll tell you my thoughts on it. Like, I'm mad. I just don't know who I'm mad at.
Ryan, I think you're right. I mean, we do need folks on some networks, and they all should not be on frickin' Red Panty Night. They should be on the Pink Thong too.
Yeah,
Um,
we do not have enough capacity for one given network for in one market for one carrier to have greater than 80% of the market
it's
share.
ridiculous. No
And in
way.
some
No
places,
how.
Verizon's like that, and you can't download a page.
That's ridiculous. So let's get to this here.
Yeah,
The
let's get to
U.S.
the FAA.
The U.S. FAA said today, Friday, January 28th, time of this recording, time of the article. This is according to readers. They have agreed that Verizon and AT&T can safely turn on more towers with C-band 5G. The FAA said that they and the wireless carriers have agreed on steps that will enable more aircraft to safely use key airports while also enabling towers to deploy 5G service. The FAA said more precise data about the exact location of wireless transmitters allowed it to determine that it is possible to safely and more precisely map the size and the shape of the areas around the airports where 5G signals are mitigated, shrinking the areas where wireless operators are deferring their antenna activations. Pete, how do you see that, dog?
As I was telling you in text, the brightest side is they were finally able to hire a team of 5 engineers or provision them to actually test these altimeters. What would really piss me off is if they had engineers who could test it and they waited this long.
So, Pete, I think it's pretty evident here. They actually started testing and they realized their catastrophic fears were unfounded.
Yep.
It is complete negligence and incompetence that they objected to the deployment of the gear and the activation in November of 2021.
Again, I
Planes falling
will
from the sky, dog,
Sneed.
really?
I will agree with everything you said except for the planes falling, and the planes falling is hyperbole on their part.
Pete, the media was reporting that it was all freaking fear-mongering, dog.
Yeah, it was. But what I'm getting at is I'd be pissed off at the FAA if I know they're 100% liable for this. But if they were recovering from furlough, which some departments still are, and unable to test, then we have other parties to blame.
Okay, Pete, true or false? Other countries have been using similar frequencies and 5G use for over a year.
I'm going to go further than that. They've also been using this for 4G.
So true or false, they've been using it?
True.
True or false, American planes have been landing in those countries?
True, but they're on the metric system. Things work better there.
Metrics. Pete, I'm going to strangle you through this daggone podcast.
Do it.
Stop clowning, bro. Okay, next. True or false, physics is the same regardless of what country you're in?
I want to believe it's true. I really do.
Oh my God, Pete! I'm seriously gonna, dude.
No, what I'm getting at is sometimes I hear arguments in the U.S. that are contrary to physics,
Okay,
and
let's take the physics one step further. True or false? Over 400 megahertz of guard band is enough separation to keep the interference at bay from actually happening.
that's an understatement. Unless you're running with 1950s radio technology, no way in hell do you need 400 megahertz of guard band.
All right, Pete. True or false? The FAA cleared 90% of altimeters last week.
I thought they did that today.
No, today they said we can get rid of the exclusion zones.
Damn.
Bro, this is crazy. Like,
So, like I said, I will completely blame the FAA if they had the funding and the manpower to test it in the time. If they did not, then we have Congress or an administration.
why? What have they been doing for 2 years? You got to tell me what they've been doing for 2 years.
I'm gonna have to talk with some people and see if they can find that information before I
I
can
swear
pass
to you,
judgment.
Pete, if you get me that info and if you want me to keep it under wraps, I will. I
Yep.
won't disclose it if you can get me that information, but I want to know.
I'm going to be asking to see if I can find somebody. I know they're under the Department of Commerce. No, transportation. So most of the people I deal with are under commerce.
You're right.
So I'm gonna try and find some information here. But yeah, I cannot have be like seething if it's, short staff or no staff.
Pete, they literally said they're going
I'd be
to.
pissed at the federal government if it's no staff.
Pete, they literally just said in a statement the airline industry says that they will allow a further refinement of the exclusion zones around the airports very
Good.
soon. Like, they're going to be modifying it, like,
That stuff needs to happen.
because these carriers paid so much money for the spectrum, dog.
Yeah, and early clearing. As I said, if the zones cannot be deployed, they should be refunded.
I'm sorry, Pete. I think a lawsuit is still in order.
Again,
I
first
think
we'd
what they
have
could
to
do.
figure out who to sue.
I know exactly who to sue. The carriers can sue the FCC, and then the FCC can sue the FAA and the airline industry.
Yes, that's how it would work. But they
But if
cannot
the carriers
directly
don't sue,
sue
there's
the
nothing.
FAA.
Look, man, here's what I know. If the carriers wanted to, they could run the numbers. How
yeah.
long per day does a delayed C-band launch cost them? Like, how much money per day? They could put a number to it and then just multiply the number. Okay, well, let's say it costed them $5 million a day to not have it live. It costed them in operations $5 million.
Yep.
So for every tower site, market, whatever, however deployments they had, they could say we had this site built, we had this site able to be turned on. It was going to do this for our network. It was going to offer this capacity, this usage, this many people, this many millions of pops, and this and that. Bro, they can do the numbers.
Oh yeah. They can totally do the numbers.
And then they can have, but they want to avoid that. I think the carriers actually, they kind of look like nice guys in this, don't they, Pete? They played nice, right?
Can't argue.
Yeah, I think they played nice. And I think once the carriers played nice and they threw it into the lap of the FAA and they said, look, because even Hans took the high road.
Now I'm gonna say something, and yeah, could be the FAA. Ryan is bringing up a good point. By the way, this spectrum was NTIA spectrum. The FAA was just using it.
Right.
And he does point out that their head got sacked in early 2019 due to political disagreements.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't good.
So I'm going to tell you a small story about a DoD group I've been talking with. Over the course of 10 months, they had 3 different undersecretaries.
Why so much turnover, Pete?
The only assumption the director and I have is, hey, do you think Air Force One can go hypersonic? And I'm going, physics doesn't work that way. And then them finding someone else being found. You know. So yeah, that's Ryan. That's the point I'm bringing up. I don't know who to blame, but I am annoyed.
All right. We'll see, Pete. Hopefully we can get some of that info disclosed. That would be nice.
I'm going to be rattling some cages.
All right. All right. So we just talked about the growth numbers in the industry. I don't think this is sustainable. I think there's more growth potential in fixed wireless access than traditional mobility. So that being said, I think with the extra growth in 2021, I'd expect a slight dip, maybe a 10 or 20% growth dip as an entire industry. That being said, the carriers most definitely are going to be trying to upsell people. T-Mobile is already doing it with Magenta MAX. It's a better plan. You get more hotspot and tethering data. It's more like a true unlimited plan, higher priority, no slowdowns of any type of usage. You know, you get the full scale resolution playback, right, Pete?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a real unlimited data plan. Now you got to pay to play. All right, Pete, what's the price on the business side?
$15 to upgrade per line.
15 on top of the regular line.
Yeah, whatever you negotiate your rate to be.
So according to T-Mobile's calculations and mine, the network can handle it. They can monetize the extra capacity by upselling. I think this is going to be a big thing in the industry. I expect AT&T to do it too with the Elite. Verizon is doing it right now with the Get More 5G data plan, whatever it's called. They're trying to convert this, Pete.
Max.
Yeah, the ARPU play is huge right now because, like I said, I think the growth is going to take a bit of a dip, but I think we're going to be seeing conversions for those premium plans.
Definitely. I've been saying for a while that the U.S. has at the moment somewhere around 143 around 343 million potential users of one line. You have a physical population cap. You can't. Once you hit that, the added lines are people buying tablets or watches or connected devices like that with a SIM card. So when you hit the critical mass, the only way you can improve revenue per customer, or POO, is by upselling to better plans, better devices, better cost.
I got some numbers, Pete. You want to take a look at them with me? I'll just read them off to you.
Yeah, let's ramble.
All right, quarter 4 2016 to quarter 1 2017. 40% of people were on an unlimited data plan.
Yep.
Fast forward 2 years to Q4 2018. So go from 2016 to 2018 Q4. It went to 60%, from 40 to 60. So that's a 50% increase, dog.
Yep.
Okay, now let's go from Q4 2018 to Q4 2020. 75% are on unlimited data plans. And since then till now, we've only seen a 2% increase in unlimited data plans. This is about that's the rate. It's going to be about 1% a year. Because most people, if they want unlimited, they already got it. Right?
Oh yeah.
So like this is what do you think that the 25% or so, 24% that aren't on it, they're on track phone. You know?
They're on prepaid phones with bucket data. They're on those lines where you pay per the gig. Or you have some older people who don't use text, who are on Verizon and AT&T data buckets still.
Or they have like 1 gig and they don't even use it. They just have it.
Yeah.
They're still calling, primarily.
I was shocked that I have some cousins who were on Verizon and then went to Altice.
Oh
I
no.
actually let me finish this. I was shocked that under Verizon they were their mother was paying $300 a month for a 5 gig shared plan.
Can't believe they still have that plan.
She couldn't either. She went to Altice and 5 lines, $30 a line, and they're in the New York metropolitan area. And when they're not on the Altice Wi-Fi, the N41 and the whatever they're on with T-Mobile is blazing. So not a horrible turnover from the Sprint merger, and she's saving 66%.
What's left?
What's left where?
I mean, what's left to squeeze out of these lemons, man? Like, how much juice is left if you're hanging around that 75-76% of customers now on unlimited plans? I mean, there's not
Um,
many left. I mean, if you're not on an unlimited plan, there's a reason you're not. It's not because you don't know they exist.
yeah, you're on a fixed income, or um, you've never paid attention to the data side of your phone bill
Yeah,
ever.
right.
So we may see larger numbers simply because those plans, the customers age out of being customers.
So the other side to this, and we kind of already alluded to it, the premium upsell. Who do you think is going to have a easier time converting, Pete? Like getting people to go from the starter Magenta, like, is it going to be T-Mobile selling the Magenta Max? Is it going to be AT&T with the Elite or Verizon with the Get More? Who's going to convert that upsell the most?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
Yeah, I mean, this would be your prediction. It'd be completely independent, and there's a lot of things at play here. So the people who are not on a premium plan, what gets them to move up?
Um, I believe only the higher two upsells on AT&T have included HBO Max.
So you got the Elite doing it?
You got the Elite, and the one under that, I believe there's a one below that that doesn't.
Yeah, but they don't want to push the middle one. They want to push the
But
they'll
what
take
I'm
the
getting
extra
at
5.
is the people who will they can upsell are the ones who want added access, and that will still be somewhat of an upsell, but not the largest. But
AT&T's got the HBO Max, Verizon's got the Disney, the Hulu.
yeah, so when you're in the middle plan, not the bottom plan, on the middle you get a teaser for the what the network can do. You see what your access can be, especially when you're not deprioritized due to congestion. And you start finding yourself getting soft cap due to data usage because you're like, wow, this data is nice. And then that's when you upgrade. When you're like, I just want more of this. So we're going to be looking for people in their middle age who haven't gone up. They might get a pay raise. They go, yeah, I want a more premium experience so I can watch Winter Olympics in 4K on the train. Um, or young people when they come in money and they just want the best because why not? So the mid grade is a teaser for the top grade, and the low grade is
The low grade is a reason to leave the low grade.
the low grade is a demo for where you don't have no service.
I just,
So
it's literally there. They don't want you to use it. It's just there to get you to stay away from it because they're like, "Hey, look at everything you're missing
in
when
the
you're
long
on."
run, you get the AT&T base unlimited, you go over to your neighborhood and it says no service 12 hours a day, you leave AT&T.
Pete, is it really that bad?
My wife has a colleague who lives in Longmont and has AT&T. She loves her Wi-Fi calling because she has no house phone. And if she didn't have the Wi-Fi calling, she wouldn't get phone calls.
Sheesh, man.
And busted out my 3 lines, and you got band 13 on Verizon there. And I have N41 on T-Mobile there finally.
Damn.
So, yeah, that's what the base plan's for, to realize you have no service in some location so you can go somewhere else.
Yeah, realize what you're missing out on from anyone else.
Yep.
Mm.
They're teaser plans.
It's crazy, man. Ohio is nothing like that, man. Wow. It must be just some areas that just certain carriers just absolutely neglect.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it doesn't even make sense. So their tower density is horrible, I'm assuming?
It's horrible density, or no incentive to upgrade, or
They do, though. They've got the FirstNet contract.
yeah, and I've yet to find any. I've yet to find any 14 in this area. Which is funny because
I need you to do an audit, bro, and send it over to the government.
I don't have to. The FirstNet organization, I know 2 of the directors, and they're still surprised it hasn't deployed here.
At what point are they just like, hey, guys, look, this contract's been around for 4 years. Can we, move on now? Can we get this done,
We
please?
have a tower site. You won't get charged rent as long as these police officers can use it for free. There are like 8 of those. They'd have a direct connection to the backbone internet based on where it's located. Well, should be located in Boulder, and never showed up.
Hey, Pete, how about this Capex business? Let's hit it.
Okay.
All right, we got a 5G Capex extravaganza expected for the next couple of years. I think the direct beneficiaries are going to be companies like SBA, American Tower, Crown Castle. They're doing small cells. They're upgrading macros. They're renewing leases. I mean, the carriers are spending money on spectrum. Obviously, the upgrades to the sites that's naturally the next step in that evolution. But densification, like it's small cells, it's macros, it's fiber, it's everything. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, T-Mobile is going to be new to the modern, like this new generation of small cells, right? The new CRAN or whatever they're calling them. Verizon's kind of like knee deep in it with all the nodes and everything. So
remember about a week ago, Zero Cool was talking about these mid-band millimeter wave small cells they were getting ready to deploy. That's quite modern.
Well, so you've got your tower companies, then you got your RAN manufacturers.
Yep.
All right, so Nokia, Samsung, Ericsson, the big 3 players here in the States.
Why is Nokia still a big player?
Pete, I'm hearing that they've got a renaissance coming, dog. Me and you are the same, Pete. I swear to God, we're connected at the freaking mind. we don't live the MediaTek life, and we don't live the Nokia life. But I'm telling you, I'm hearing good things about both of those companies right now, which is crazy.
I'm hearing good things about MediaTek. I just can't recommend them until I can upgrade my microcode.
Yeah, that's facts, bro. We've talked about the upgrade situation. All right, so Verizon's what does Verizon spend in spectrum, man? They spent 40 plus. they're probably around 50 billion for 3.7 in gear and spectrum.
Yep.
All right, AT&T's probably upper 30s, mid 30s
Yep.
in 3.5 and 3.7.
If only we had Moose around, he'd probably have a better pin on
Yeah.
that number.
They got to upgrade
But
that gear. I got them spending about 10 billion on that. So they're going to end up like a few million short of Verizon, maybe 5
yeah,
million.
I could see them being a little less than 40.
Yeah. I got T-Mobile spending, well, they did the merger. That counts because they got a ton of 2.5.
Oh yeah.
And then
And
they spent an additional 10 billion on 3.7.
12-ish, I think it was.
Okay, and then they just spent some on DoD, which I think they spent what, Pete, like 2 billion, 4
Yep.
billion. Anyways, they spend. All right, so you got all this spectrum. We got tower deals. They've all inked deals for small cells. They've all inked deals for macros.
They got the template and they're trying to run with it and find the best price possible.
I was actually, when I was talking to Roger Etner about this, he says nobody beats the vendor like T-Mobile. So I think, and AT&T must be doing a good job too because their Capex went up.
Yep.
So that means that money came from somewhere. It must have been the vendor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then Verizon's like, to hell with it. We just can't be stuck in the dark in all of
Here's
this.
our platinum card. Give us stuff.
I know, you ain't lying, bro. It really feels that way, man.
That's Verizon. You get premium network experience, premium prices, and they buy premium things.
Verizon, their Capex is guiding 1 billion to $500 million less than last year. So we'll call it just about the same. T-Mobile, I'm a little bit unsure of how to report this, but I think they're going to be about the same, maybe a little bit less.
It depends on their accountant.
We'll see, man, because sometimes they spend more than what they say, and then sometimes they spend. It depends on the quarter, actually.
Well, I'm saying it depends on the accountant, where if he can make money appear.
Yeah, from here and there, shaving and doing whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. AT&T is really the only carrier that is making a substantial increase in Capex. I think it's C-band related, Pete, personally.
Well, it's not Band 14 related, I can tell you that much.
They're 95% done with Band 14.
I might be the 5% left.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be C-band because nobody's subsidizing that for them.
Hey, Pete, you ready? You ready for this?
Sure.
All right. Sprint Capex in 2007.
$5?
$5 billion.
Wow, that's hefty spending. Too bad WiMAX didn't take off.
Sprint Capex in 2010, $1.4 billion.
Wait, they had $1 billion to spend in 2010?
That's what it said.
Okay, I believe you.
Sprint 2013, all carriers went big, and I think I know why. That was a big spectrum year, advanced LTE.
Wasn't that AWS?
The first set of AWS spectrum, exactly. So that makes sense. Verizon went from 8.9 to 9.4 billion. AT&T went from 10.8 to 11.2. T-Mobile went from 3.7 to 4.2. Sprint went from 4.9 to 6.8. So they didn't buy any spectrum. They must have just been like, all right, we got to start upgrading the network. Let's do it.
Man, SoftBank, big spenders that year.
Okay, now if I track the spending, Verizon pretty much increased CapEx every year until I think 2016. And then they started to slow down. I think what happens there is, the network's kind of built the way they want it to be for a couple of years, and then it kicked back up again.
Yeah, then you gotta update your hardware, update your backbone.
What do you get, like 2 years off, and then you got to hit the ground running again?
That's a Caleb question.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, Dish started spending money in 2021, $1 billion in CapEx.
They're going bankrupt. What can I tell you?
No, they just got $4 billion.
No, they're.
They got Pete. They got to spend for spectrum. Okay,
that
they
they're not
got.
going to deploy.
Okay, they're guiding 1 billion for 2021. They're guiding 3 billion for 2022, 3 billion 2023, 1.5 billion 2024, 1.5 billion 2025. Okay, because Pete, why? You know why this is like this is because they said 7 billion.
Yeah, and they're getting their network equipment from Walmart.
Bro, JMA is so bad. It's horrible, dog. It's so bad. Like, okay, so like everybody wants to sit there and dog Nokia, but there's levels to this. Like there's Nokia and then there's JMA, dog. Seriously.
I mean, could you at least give a good solder joint?
You know what? This is true, man. What Ryan is saying, it's kind of messed up, but if this is true, you know, Hesse, he got Sprint working properly like a business, and then he went with frickin' Marcelo. That is ridiculous, dog.
Yep.
And then look at Marcelo. He robbed the company blind, pulled off the sale, and then does it to SoftBank, and then he walks away today. They said, you know, mutual separation. Nah, dog, you've been
No, no,
stealing for
no.
the better part of the last decade.
That's him sitting in a Japanese boardroom and them telling him you have two options.
Dude, in 2016, Pete, Sprint spent $2 billion. They couldn't even pace T-Mobile.
Nope.
You know, like they couldn't compete with T-Mobile in spending. So like they didn't have a chance.
Hey, I remember when I first went into T-Mobile, kind of regretting that I didn't have the Sprint 3G coverage. And by the time Sprint evaporated, Sprint customers were regretting they didn't have the T-Mobile LTE coverage.
All right, we got a super chat from Green.
$5. Do you think we really need Dish in the wireless business? Don't we have enough competition already? More competition is good competition. The only downside with Dish at the moment is they're only attracting prepaid customers. And as I said, we have about, let's be generous, 350 million possible customers. If the other three are hovering around 100 million lines each, there is no pie left. So
Pete, I truly believe that Dish doesn't want to pay to give postpaid customers unlimited access on AT&T or T-Mobile's network. That's too expensive. Postpaid unlimited customers are different than 35 gig boost mobile customers.
Ryan Reynolds pays extra out of his pocket for truly unlimited Mint Mobile customers.
Does he literally treat it like just like a project?
It is a project.
Yeah, it literally feels like he's like, well, as long as everybody's happy and I'm not losing money, I'm good.
Yeah, it's like he makes a lot of money acting.
He does.
I mean, I buy the Blu-rays, or though I think Fox, Disney gets most of that money, but he's working on an R-rated Deadpool 3 that is going to, make a few $100 million. So hit most of the customers are using less than 30 gigs a month, and those who go above 50, 100, I think he kind of just eats it.
If I was going to answer that question, Green, here's the way I'll address this. Not asking or not accepting a fourth competitor is like somebody saying, "No, I don't want that free bag of chips." You know, it just doesn't make sense. It's free. You can eat it yourself or you can give it away. Like
I mean, bundle Sling TV or Dish Network satellite with it. You know,
Here's the thing, Pete.
give a
What do
give a good.
you lose? What do you lose by gaining a fourth competitor?
You lose the. You lose a piece of your finite pie, but
No, you don't.
well,
As a customer, you don't
as a
lose anything.
customer, you gain.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see a version of this that harms the customer.
I just wish Boost had a more agreeable method of deployment between me and the groups I talk with. But if they can if they can bundle it in with their satellite service or offer something nobody else does, then people will go there if it's a good price. I mean, if we had Moose here, we'd ask him how many, like, what did including HBO Max do for the AT&T plans? Probably gave him more customers. You know what I mean?
I do. I absolutely do. I just, I know not to kick something out of bed when it's good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'd love to stop joking about their deployment, their lack of spectrum. I would like to talk about them seriously. I don't want them to be Sprint.
Yeah, I think that's a bottom line here. But Sprint was 2 decades of incompetence, Pete.
Yep.
It was Nextel, it was Gary Forsey, it was Massa, it was Marcello. It was 2 decades of horrible decision making and the inability to take your strength and put your knee in your competitor's neck. Sprint should have buried Verizon.
Oh yeah, I mean
Even
regionally.
though Verizon's density is essentially otherworldly compared to Sprint's density. I'm just saying from a spectrum position. See, but here's the thing. If Sprint was smart, I'm dead serious, Pete. They could have sold 40 megahertz of 2.5 to Verizon, and they could have breathed life back into their network.
Oh yeah. Now I must say, before Sprint bought Nextel was better than Bell Atlantic.
Do you think that Verizon would have wanted 40 megahertz of spectrum, or would they rather have seen Sprint die?
Oh, they would have snorted that like substances in board meetings.
See, that's the one thing. I feel like Verizon would rather watch Sprint die a slow death and just wait for another auction than to pay them money and then give them life. Because what that would do is Sprint still would have had 120 megahertz
Yeah.
of spectrum, right? Because they average 160 national. And then T-Mobile would have been the odd man out. They'd still be looking for a merger.
Yeah, and then they'd be bought up by a cable company like Joe's Crap Shack Cable.
Yeah, I mean, it could have played out differently. I don't know how the FCC and the DOJ would have regulated any of that if there was other, acquisitions, mergers, sales. I don't know. I'm thinking aloud. Like the only company that was truly spectrum starved was Verizon. Like,
I
and
mean,
actually, what about this, Pete? What
excluding
about a low
Dish.
band? What about a low band deal between T-Mobile and Sprint? What if that would have happened?
That would have been nice for
Like a
both of them.
network roaming, yeah, for the 600 megahertz. Like, hey, look, T-Mobile says, look, man, we need an extra couple of billion to build out the 600 megahertz faster. You give us that, we'll let you use it for 5 years.
Oh yeah, and both would win.
Exactly. And then Sprint would have said, well, okay, since you did that, we'll let you use our N41. We'll give you access to our mid-band 5G for the next 5 years. Bro, that would have been a game changer. We would have had an actual partnership in this country.
Hey, partnership is better than a buyout, in my opinion.
Here's something I've learned, Pete. and this is, I can't believe it, man. The for the sake of humanity, for the sake of the people, a good business transaction involves party A selling something to party B saying thank you, this is exactly what I'm paying for, and then party A making money and saying thank you for the business. That's
That's
a good
what
business transaction, right?
that's what I am for every time I go out as a independent consultant.
Pete, do you know me as a communist? Do you know me as a socialist?
Not particularly. I haven't gone into that with you, but
Do you get a sense of that tendency from me?
you like things being fair. You like everybody being happy.
Well, I want the people to benefit, so I feel like a
Yeah,
partnership between a couple of cell phone companies to help them cover the country helps people.
it does.
So what would be wrong with the reciprocal roaming agreement for low band and mid band?
Absolutely nothing as long as both parties agree that it's equitable.
Like what Sprint didn't have was coverage. What
Yeah,
T-Mobile had was national license and a coverage band.
yep. And I still like how they're building it out slowly but surely.
And what if they shared the sites to the point where, like, okay, T-Mobile is climbing to put up 600 megahertz. Hey, let's just go ahead and put up some N41 gear.
Yeah, it would cost them the cost of the equipment, and maybe a couple more hours of the contractor.
But I swear, Pete,
That would save money.
these companies would rather watch each other die. If they were on fire, they wouldn't spit on each other to put it out.
Yeah, they're designed to be cutthroat because that's what the shareholders want.
That's facts, bro.
I just want three good options or four. I'd be happy. I'd be really happy with four everywhere I go.
AT&T might make Boost great again.
Hey,
Except in Longmont.
did you read my comment on that video?
Yeah.
I'm like, more good spectrum for me.
Yeah, I still don't understand how people think that if you get Boost Mobile customers off of T-Mobile, it's going to somehow make the network noticeably faster. I don't think
It
that day
won't.
will come.
I will see, maybe 2-3% throughput improvement without a large chunk of people on the network. But when I'm connected to N71, not even N41, the average downloads I'm getting around 35-40, more than enough for everything I do. Finding, a site where I'm getting 700 down on N41, yeah, that's nice. But what am I going to do with 700 on my mobile phone? It
Yeah,
just,
it's not about, one device. We know that.
yeah, it's everybody in this restaurant if they're waiting around playing a game or watching a video with a Bluetooth earbud in, being able to do that.
What are the most famous videos? What are they, like the cat videos on YouTube, Pete?
Yep. Play a game, do something distracting while you're waiting. If you can get a 700 down,
Hashtag
you're,
ravioli gang.
oh yeah. But if you can get 700 down, everybody in that restaurant can enjoy it.
We got a super chat from Green, Pete.
Thank you, Green9227. He's on Magenta MAX, AT&T Elite, and Get More Plus. I love all my plans. Verizon says I have ultra wideband. It's only LTE here. I feel deceived at my new place. What phone do you have, Green?
I think he's either Galaxy or iPhone, if I remember correctly. Those maps are not accurate, Pete, for
Yep.
the 5G ultra wideband.
I find they're hitter. Like, I get 41, then move a little, lose it. But I think the benchmark for those maps is if it says you're on that more than 50% of the time.
They're building the surrounding county really good, Pete. Verizon. I'm so shocked. Like they're building in Medina County, which is it's rural, dude.
I thought it was Medina.
Stop. You guys are always okay, you and Moose, you guys are terrible.
Hey, so
It's Medina, dog.
So real quick, I'm giving you a jab with that because I'm gonna write a word on this board and then pronounce it how I pronounce it, and then pronounce it how Colorado pronounces it.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Come on, Pete, stop bullshitting.
So the word is pudra. It means rock.
Spell that, Pete.
Poudre. Pudra.
Okay.
They call it powder.
Okay.
Yeah. How about Buena Vista, not Buena Vista? I have no idea how to say town names in Colorado because.
Hey, how about this one, Pete? Florida. I got that one, and I got what's the other one, man? Oh, New Orleans.
New Orleans?
No. Louisville?
I have a city here. It's Louisville, spelled Louisville.
Ah, okay.
Louisville or whatever.
Bro, there's people in Ohio that say Warsh. For wash, they say Warsh.
I don't get how those phonemes come with those pictograms.
What about milk? Literally MELK, milk. See, they don't I'm telling you, they're not really speaking English. They're more like chopping it up, swallowing it, and then spitting it back out. Telling you, Doug. All right.
I tell you this. Picking up French, Italian, and reading Latin killed my ability to pronounce weird English words. Green has another $5 super chat saying, "What are your guys' thoughts on S22 Ultra, and what about the new 5G X65 modem? What can that do for the phone?" Well, it can totally get that ultra wideband.
All right, so the S22 Ultra, the new modem, if you have a device from 2020 and you want the latest and greatest, it makes sense to upgrade from the X50, the X55. If you have an X60, you could probably take the year off and then just get the next best thing next year.
Yep.
You know, so like, I don't know if you have the S21 Ultra, for example, I don't know if I'd feel compelled to get the S22 Ultra.
It's like an iPhone. Wait every other year.
Well, no, Pete. Frickin' when the iPhone went from Intel to Qualcomm, I was on board.
Well, there's a difference between driving a 4-cylinder engine and something that goes 2 in cost. You go with the 4-cylinder when you have the option.
Just for the baby sips?
No, so you don't go down the road.
Yeah. You know what, Green? And thanks for the super chat, man. You know, look, these phones are expensive, dude. I know Samsung does great trade-ins. Like if you have their year back model, they'll give you really good value, like $800 to trade in. If they're giving you $800, it's tempting. You essentially rented the old phone for $200?
I only went with the Pixel 6 Pro over the 5 because they got the price more than half when I traded in the 5.
So what'd you go? You ended up paying what, like $300?
Yep.
$400? Yeah.
$350.
$250. Nice.
$350.
Then I think it's worth it. You got to look at the trade-in options. If you're going to be selling in the open market, man, you're going to get screwed. Samsungs do not have good resale value at all. The Samsung trade-in program is good. The resale value, no.
Especially when you're looking at the iPhone trade-in too.
No, the iPhone trade-in is actually decent.
No, for the Samsungs, they cut the price between $40 and $100 per unit, even the modern ones.
Samsung, they do good loyalty rebates, like the trade-in from Samsung to Samsung. That's what I've seen. Google doesn't do a great job of trade-ins of other devices. I don't know why. Motorola doesn't even do trade-ins, so they're like, nah, dude, we don't want your crap. We're going to sell you crap, but we don't want your crap.
Well, Google, the main reason why you're buying a Google phone is you had one before.
Yeah, I feel like once you buy one in, the suite of features kind of keeps you.
The wife isn't really interested in, cell phone bells and whistles. But after getting her the Pixel 5, she likes Pixel.
Yeah, it's a nice way to go. Look, I've always said that I thought that the Google Pixel device offers the best smartphone user experience, the layout, the setup, I love the features, man.
Dude,
you got an assistant to take your calls, you can make reservations, so much.
Stock on the last T-Mobile Samsung I purchased, you had 3 web browser apps, default, 2 messaging apps, default, 2 files, default. This, if you're not transferring over, you have the App Store, the phone, and text messages.
Yeah, and honestly, man, I don't get excited about iPhones, really. I know what they offer. I know what they are. I do get excited about new Google phones, and I do get excited about the Galaxy phones. I feel like they're the Android powerhouse, the benchmark, for cellular connectivity. They're the first phones to come out at the start of the year and stuff.
They're Ferraris.
Yeah, they're. I mean, Pete, you remember your Note, man. You remember.
Still a damn good phone.
Yeah, I mean, they were great, dude. You had what, an 801 processor? 805?
805.
805.
But, 3 months later, lost 60% of the resale value.
Yo, Pete, Vamps TV just got 5 gig installed today. What do you got to say to that fiber install?
Congrats. May you be able to use it.
That is crazy. 5 gig, dog.
Yeah.
Yo, Pete, should I go ahead and order that mmWave gear and that CBRS gear? I can get the multi-gig at my house now.
Hey, if you want.
Do you think it would be cool to actually deploy a private network across the block?
Oh, that would be cool, but would the wife appreciate it?
Where am I going to put the gear, Pete?
That's why you got to talk with the wife.
If she's going to be like, hey, you want to put it up on the roof? Okay, go ahead. You're sleeping up there, too.
Yep. I mean, the unlicensed CBRS around here, I can still throw on my own network and just use it as if I own it. So,
what do you guys have? How much can you use? I know it's 10 megahertz blocks, sub blocks.
It depends on how much I want to piss off NTIA.
Well, what are you entitled to as a public GAA?
I'm not a GAA. I'm a third-party vandal.
I wonder what you could pull off, man.
Theoretically, the testing was 80 megahertz.
80 freaking megahertz. You put that, I think,
deprioritizing everybody else on it legitimately.
Pete, I think if you put a 1 gig circuit to that, you're doing 800 megs, dude. Dang, what's the range you think from some decent gear? Quarter mile?
Could do a quarter mile with the power consistency of a car battery, like a Prius battery.
What do you what do you think it would cost to run it, like in terms of operations, the power draw?
I'd need a government contract to justify that.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You think it needs more than $500 a month?
No, it would need $500, around 500, $600 a month. But just doing that, I'd get arrested.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, how about millimeter wave gear? You think that's going to be more? That would be probably be half the power, right?
It's half the power, little less, especially if you don't want the what is it, 1028 by 1028 beams.
So you'd get less range, but you'd get way faster throughput.
Yeah. And have it local. And
could you run, like, if you got a 100 megahertz channel, could you run that to your neighbors off of your, like, if I got a 5 gig circuit, Pete, and I pushed, like, you think I could get 2 gigs out of it?
Probably.
And then I could keep the rest of the
rest to yourself.
Yeah, because I mean, if I get a 2 gig circuit, I guess I could put a gig for myself and then a gig to the wireless, but then I might as well just do the CBRS if I'm going to do 1 gig.
Oh, yeah.
You know. All right. Got me thinking about it, dog. I don't know, man. Turn it into a project. I have heard of some people doing that out in rural America. They're building private networks with CBRS.
It's worth it.
They just got to get somebody to run some fiber.
Oh, yeah. And you may be seeing some cities utilizing GAA for that.
I'm good with that. I feel like that's what it was designed for.
That's what the FCC and NTIA wanted it to be used for.
Yeah.
Not these 800 down Verizon speed test videos.
Yeah, but Pete, you notice that they've gotten off of the unlicensed stuff. They're pretty much doing their 30 and 40 license now.
Yeah, but
now you're seeing like 300, 400 meg speeds. So they,
But what I'm getting at is it would have been preferred for the digital divide for cities to buy up, 20 megahertz and use it to give out internet, especially for school students.
What about freaking helium, dog?
What's that?
Helium, it's that it's that cryptocurrency mining where they send you out like a small cell and you run backhaul to it and it crypto mines.
I actually looked over that in my wireless class, and the instructor and I looked at each other. I said to him, "Who the F would buy this? This sounds like a Ponzi scheme."
Yeah. But Pete, man, like, people are making a few $100s a month just passively doing it, man.
Yeah, and then this month their few $100 accumulated dropped down to about half that. So, yeah.
All right, Pete, we touched on a lot of stuff, man. Anything for the good of the order?
Regardless of who I'm blaming, damn it, that C-band should have been out sooner and quicker.
I still blame Ajit Pai.
Yeah.
I blame satellite. I blame Ajit Pai. And I don't care, man. I was talking to Lavendi about this a little bit on Twitter. Like, look, man, I know he mentioned that Ajit Pai was good for C-band. Bro, if the bottom line is that stuff needed to be auctioned in like 2017. So that way we could deploy it by 2019.
Yeah.
At the latest. We're just getting it live now. So I feel like if it wasn't 2 years late, it was 3 years late, personally.
I mean, 2020, that added capacity for everyone could have saved some jobs.
Bro, I am not going to elaborate on Marcelo. That dude, man. Everybody says that John Leisure was selling wolf tickets. I don't think anybody was selling wolf tickets more than Marcelo.
Hey, Sneed. At least the tickets Ledger was selling were actual tickets.
Marcelo was literally Like, he was saying here, like, we're going to give you the best price on service, and then he stopped upgrading the network.
Yep. Wow, Ryan's getting feisty.
Ryan is getting...
I actually know the current director of NTIA. Nice woman.
Yeah. Hey, I don't like, I can't sit here. I can look back and judge the old FCC because they're done. This is a new FCC.
Yep.
So I can't really judge this one yet, but I can judge the old one, and I could tell you they dropped the ball on a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So that's all I could really say, I guess.
So the current FCC picked something that Pi said nope to. Coming out, I think it will be this summer. You'll be able to get like do I have a bottle or something around here?
Yeah, the nutrition label internet.
Yeah, so here's a bag of chips, not a sponsor. But you'd have your internet stuff showing up just like this.
Uplink speed, downlink speed, latency, cost.
And probably less confusing than the fact that they call these calories with a capital C to mean kilocalories.
Yeah, I was gonna say internationally it's kilocalories, dog.
Yes. Hey, Green with another $5. I have an S7. Will it survive the 3G shutdown? Does it support voice over LTE? I had an S5 on T-Mobile using voice over LTE. Should be good.
Yeah, the S7,
unless you're on AT&T.
S7 is VoLTE, but it doesn't have, like, I don't know, every important band for the future.
Yeah, I mean, it will work.
But you're going to be restricted to, like, band 2, band 66, and then, like...
band 12.
Yeah, you're not even going to get 600 megahertz, I don't think.
Nope, but...
You're not going to get band 14. You're not going to
get
CBRS.
The carrier.
Yeah, but either way, you're getting about half the network on any carrier. You think that's a 2-carrier aggregation phone or a 3?
It's a 2.
Yeah, and then it's probably Cat 7.
Yep. So you're capping out around
200 meg.
Yep, if you're lucky.
Yeah, and then those bands, I mean, no way, man. No way.
But, it will still make phone calls if you're not on AT&T. I don't think they activate voice over LTE lines that old anymore.
Thanks for the super chats, Green. Appreciate you, man. Always generous. Thanks to everybody for the super chats, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag Ravioli Gang. Hashtag 2Live Crew for those watching this live broadcast. Hashtag Replay Crew. Right. Hashtag Replay Crew. Hashtag Help the Bear. We got to do that one. Somebody actually sent me a tweet. There was a Colorado man wrestling a bear, and they're like, "Yo, man, I think Pete's out here."
So, when I wrestle a bear, I don't try to put it in submission. I try and give it a good, strong bear hug that crushes its ribs.
You got to throw like a spinning heel kick and knock him off his feet,
Last time I sat with the bear, we were both meditating, so...
All right, Pete, thanks for hanging out. Big shout out to Moose. Big shout out to Tyrone.
Sitting around like this.
Meditating. All right, Pete. Good show, man. Thank you for being on, man.
Real quick, one last thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to start up playing some games on my channel periodically. I'm going to have chat open, ask me about mobile or cybersecurity stuff, and if you're lucky, I'll pause and go on a tangent.
Pete, go ahead and put a link to the channel so people can get subscribed. I did share your video out on the YouTube side and Twitter from last night when you were testing OBS.
Yep.
So
I got 6 people jumping in, and I talked with 2 of them. It was fun.
Yeah. So I'm kind of hoping that we can get you some traction there, and then we could just see if you can get some growth on that side. I think it's going to require you to probably do like a weekly stream.
I might start trying for weekly at a set time and during the morning
Is that
randomly.
easiest for you? Yeah.
It's when I don't have a appointment lined up to do some work. But I'm probably gonna throw out a tip jar and try and get a better capture card.
What does it take? What's the investment?
Like $250.
You know I'm going to put in on it, dog. You know I will.
Yeah. The one I'm using cost me like $50, $60.
How you going to do your tip jar? Are you going to do a PayPal? Are you going to do a Venmo? What do you want to do?
It's gonna be PayPal, Venmo.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah. So that 250 milliseconds of lag, man. I cannot play Breath of the Wild on there and kill the Guardians.
So I can probably do that. Like I think, like say for example, FIFA. I don't think I'd have trouble. I think it's certain game titles. They're just more sensitive to those things.
They are. And Green, I would upgrade your S7 to at least an S20.
Nah, I'd go with an S21. Wait for the new 22 to launch and then pick up one on sale. Whether like secondhand or
it depends on the budget. So
the problem, Pete, with the S20, you're losing a lot of future proofing. Like it's not even worth the investment. Like the 2021 modems are leaps and bounds ahead of the 20 modems. But the 21 modem is more similar to the 22.
Although I must say, I had an unlocked S20 driving around. First time I saw over 100 down in Longmont on T-Mobile. So,
yeah, no surprises there. The LTE upgrades are still good on that phone.
Yep.
I know we don't talk much about LTE. You know, it's not really
it's not the fun thing.
Yeah, it's not the soup of the day, but
I mean, people want to talk about my 3G experiences on T-Mobile and Verizon. I'm happy to share those too. Some of them were better than LTE.
You know, it's crazy, Pete. Like, I can't imagine how bad Verizon is in some places because it's really good in Ohio.
So,
and AT&T is even better. Like when it comes to capacity upgrades.
One location sitting around Verizon's DSS N5. Get a good solid, 10 down. Go over to their 3G. I'm at 15. No buffering. T-Mobile, N71 off sector, getting 8 megs down. 3G, I'm getting 20. I'm watching 4K videos without data caps.
I just don't understand my house situation. That's all I don't understand. That's all.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. It's weird how none of the carriers share the same sites. They're all on, like, it's weird, right? Like Verizon has their own site, AT&T has their own site, and T-Mobile has their own site. They're all different.
Found a Verizon site driving around today, and I was so impressed that it was only like 25 feet above the ground.
All right, Pete, I'm going to make a quick shorts after this. I'm going to send it over to you to watch.
Okay.
Sneed shorts. Pete hates them. He doesn't get them. I don't care.
I don't get how shorts work.
It's a 1-minute video, Pete.
Yeah, and then I tap it and it disappears, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Then I stop watching it.
Pete, you're supposed to hit thumbs up, bro.
I do that, and then sometimes the video disappears, and I'm like, who made this crappy format?
All right, Pete, listen, download TikTok and then train on that and then come back to shorts. Okay, does the wife have TikTok?
Nope.
Ah, damn.
The DoD friends' daughters do. I might ask them for some.
Be
help.
like, can you show me how to use TikTok so I can figure out how to watch YouTube Shorts?
Yeah, I'll ask them that, and they'll look at me and start laughing.
All right, Pete, let's get out of here, man. Big shout out to everybody. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for all the likes and the shares. Subscribe if you want more from the SMT and Pete. We're here every Friday. Don't forget to tip your waitress. We out this piece.
Running says you don't want me twerking. What's a twerk?
No, Pete, you don't want the twerking. That's what they do on Thong Thursdays, bro. Don't do it.
Okay.
All right, we out this piece.